Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope everyone is safe. This is the part 2 for top 6 drugs for NCLEX. In my earlier video, I had discussed the 3 drugs, and in this video, I'll be discussing the remaining 3 drugs. So let's begin with digoxin. Digoxin comes under cardiac glycoside. So it is a drug that helps the heart to pump more effectively. Here I have included the points to remember. It increases the intracellular calcium. We know that calcium helps to increase the muscle contractility. So digoxin helps to increase the cardiac contractility. And also remember that it is positive inotropic and negative chronotropic. So positive means increase and negative means decrease. Inotropic means force or the strength of contraction, and chronotropic means rate of contraction, which means the heart rate. So digoxin helps to increase the force of contraction or the strength of contraction and helps to decrease the heart rate or the rate of contraction. And the third one is sign and symptom of digoxin toxicity, which mainly affects GI or the gastrointestinal system and the vision. In GI, remember nausea, vomiting, diarrhea and anorexia, and in vision we have yellowish or greenish halos. So there are other signs and symptoms as well, but these are the major ones. The antidote for digoxin is Dizibind, and the normal range for digoxin is 0.5 to 2 nanogram per ml, and if the value increases greater than 2, that is considered to be toxic. If you remember, in our last video we had discussed about lithium, whose normal range was 0.6 to 1.2 and its normal range is 0.5 to 2. So don't get confused in between these two. Also remember that we have to monitor the apical pulse for 1 full minute before giving digoxin. And in adult, if the heart rate is less than 60, we have to hold the dose. Because we know that digoxin has a negative chronotropic effect, right? So it can further decrease the heart rate. So we have to hold the dose of digoxin if the heart rate is less than 60. And also potassium and digoxin has a kind of reverse effect. If the potassium level drops, digoxin toxicity can increase. We know that normal range for potassium is 3.5 to 5. So if the level is less than 3.5, there is an increased risk for digoxin toxicity, and we can see this kind of signs and symptoms. Especially when the patient is taking the potassium wasting diuretics such as furosemide or the Lasix. These drugs can increase the loss of potassium through the urine, so which means it can cause hypokalemia and there is a risk for digoxin toxicity. So also remember this for the test. Now another important drug is warfarin, which is an anticoagulant. In the points to remember, warfarin prevents the clot formation, and we have to monitor the PT-INR value when the patient is on warfarin therapy. PT means prothrombin time and INR means international normalized ratio. In our last video where we had discussed about heparin, for heparin we have to monitor the APTT value, right? For warfarin we monitor PT-INR, and the normal PT is 11 to 12.5 second. This is the value when the patient is not in warfarin therapy, and the therapeutic value should be 1.5 to 2 times the normal. So 1.5 to 2 times this value when the patient is on warfarin therapy. And the normal INR is 0.8 to 2. This is the value when the patient is not in warfarin therapy, and when the patient is started on therapy, the therapeutic value should be 2 to 3. But there is one exception. When the patient is on mechanical heart valve, the INR can be in between 3 to 4.5. So this is the only one exception. When the prothrombin time is greater than 30 seconds and INR is greater than 3, so this is easy to remember, right? Greater than 30 and greater than 3, we have to take the bleeding precaution because there is increased risk for bleeding. And the antidote for warfarin is vitamin K, which means vitamin K can reverse the effect of warfarin, and it is given per orally. And also no in pregnancy, which means it is contraindicated in pregnancy, but we know that we can give heparin in pregnancy. And no green leafy vegetable when the patient is on warfarin therapy, because we know that a green leafy vegetable contains a huge amount of vitamin K, and vitamin K is the antidote for warfarin. So we cannot give green leafy vegetable. And no over-the-counter OTC medications such as aspirin or NSAIDs such as indomethacin, because they can increase the risk for bleeding, and so these medications can enhance the effectiveness of warfarin. And the last one is use electrical razors instead of the straight razor to decrease the risk for bleeding when the patient is on warfarin therapy. Now the another important drug is beta blocker. All the drug in this group ends with OLOL, so propanolol, metoprolol, these are the examples. And the points to remember is this drug can be used for hypertension, angina, HF means heart failure, glaucoma, and MI, post myocardial infarction. So in test, if they ask us the indications for beta blocker, we have to remember these conditions. They may ask us in SATA question. And remember this for the test, beta blocker has negative inotropic and negative chronotropic properties, which means negative means down. So beta blocker decrease the force of contraction, and they also decrease the rate of contraction or decrease the heart rate, same as digoxin. The word beta blocker means they block the beta receptor, which can be either beta 1 or beta 2. Here are two classifications of beta blocker. One is cardioselective beta blocker, and the second one is non-selective beta blocker. Cardio means heart, right? So the cardioselective beta blocker mainly targets on the heart, and they block the beta 1 receptor. And the non-selective beta blockers targets on the heart, lungs, and other systems of the body as well, but mainly focuses on heart and lungs. They block beta 1 and beta 2 receptor. So here are the list of cardioselective beta blocker and the list of non-selective beta blockers. Since non-selective beta blocker targets on the lungs, we cannot give this type of beta blocker to the patient who has a history of asthma or COPD or any kind of respiratory distress, because they causes bronchoconstriction and can even worsen the situation. Here are some side effects of beta blockers. First one is bradycardia, which means decreased heart rate, because it has a negative chronotropic property and can decrease the heart rate. So we have to hold the drug if the systolic blood pressure is less than 100 and the heart rate is less than 60. And the second one is it marks the sign and symptom of hypoglycemia. Mask means it hides the sign and symptom of hypoglycemia. So we have to be cautious before giving this drug to the patient who has diabetes mellitus, or the patient who is taking insulin or any kind of oral diabetic medications, because these drugs can hide the symptom of hypoglycemia, such as tachycardia, sweating, nervousness, and shakiness. So due to this reason, we have to periodically monitor the blood glucose level of the patient who is on beta blockers. And the third one is bronchospasm or the bronchoconstriction, which can lead to narrowing of the airways. And the nursing education for the patient is change the position slowly, because this can drop the blood pressure and can cause orthostatic hypotension. And don't abruptly stop the pills, because this can lead to rebound hypertension or a rebound tachycardia or the hypertensive crisis. So we can't stop the medication suddenly, but we can taper off the dose. So now let's do one practice question. The nurse is monitoring a client who is taking digoxin for adverse effects. Which finding are the characteristics of digoxin toxicity? Select all that apply. This is a SATA question, and we have been given 6 options. First one is tremor, second one is diarrhea, third one is irritability, fourth one is blurred vision, fifth one is nausea and vomiting, and the sixth one is yellow or green halos. So we know that digoxin toxicity mainly affects two systems, right? First one is gastrointestinal and the second one is vision. So we have to choose the options that are related to GI and vision. So first option is tremor. So is this related to GI or vision? No, right? So the tremor is not related to digoxin toxicity. So this is a wrong answer. And the second option is diarrhea. We know that for GI we have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and anorexia. So diarrhea is the correct answer. Irritability? No, it is not related to digoxin toxicity. This is a wrong answer. And fourth one is blurred vision. Yes, this is related to digoxin toxicity. It comes under vision. And any other vision related disorders such as blurred vision or diplopia or photophobia that are related to digoxin toxicity. So this is the correct answer. And nausea and vomiting, yes, it comes under GI. And the fourth one is yellow or green halos. Yes, this is the correct answer. So our correct answer is 2, 4, 5 and 6. So in this way we do our select all that apply questions. So we have completed our top 6 NCLEX drug part 1 and part 2. In next video I'll come with some other important topics. So keep watching and stay safe.